This podcast is part of the Listen Frederick Podcast Network. To learn more, visit listenfrederick.com.
What's up, everybody? It's episode 110 of Beers in the Lot. Before we get going, I just want to remind you of the t-shirts and hoodies that we have available. A couple of the guys in our Sunday Night League wore theirs to the game, and they looked great. You could look great, too. Go to beersinthelot.com/shop. So for this episode, me and the guys talked about our Sunday Night League game where Riggs' team faced off against Danny, Johnny, and my team. Then John gave us a brief update on what's going on around the NHL as teams prepare to start up and get ready for the season. And then we had a little discussion about everybody's favorite offensive strategy, dump and chase. So let's go. Let's open those beers.
I'm watching this master class really quick on how to mix a cocktail from Aaron. What are you doing over there, Aaron?
What am I doing? So I somewhat pre-prepared the mule that I am drinking tonight. I didn't actually have any beers, so I'm drinking a cocktail. So I got my lime and ice in my copper cup. Brought my vodka and my Gosling's ginger beer.
That's right.
Gotta be Gosling's.
Yes.
That's right.
And I've made enough of these to kind of just eyeball it. So that's what I've got tonight. I've got a Moscow Mule or Mule, however you want to call it.
Nice.
What you got, Johnny?
So the day is done. I'm going to have one Attaboy Basic, which is a basic boy hard seltzer. It's cucumber and lemon. I'm not like a massive seltzer guy. I have them here and there, but like this isn't bad. So I wanted to try it and I like it. So pretty damn good. What about you, Riggs? What do you got?
I have from Checker Spot Brewing in Baltimore, Maryland, a Ziggy Zaggy, oi, oi, oi. Yeah, it's pretty good. I haven't had many Checker Spot brews, but this is pretty good.
Nice.
And Danny's can, when the folks see the beers roster from this episode, we might have to put a seizure warning on that post, because that can was like psychedelic.
Bling blinging.
Ooh.
So I have a treehouse.
Weird.
Very fitting for me. The big one. It's their
That
first.
tracks.
It was their first canned triple IPA, and yes, it is big. 9.4.
Oh,
So
That's
gonna be a fun
a
night.
few points.
Yep. Just one of them. Just 1 point.
Good stuff. We had some pretty good games last night, though, right? Oh, it was all of us in the same game. Yeah.
yes, yeah, we were all in the same game.
So we had one good game at least.
I don't know what happened in the other game.
No idea.
Well,
Doesn't matter.
I have an idea, but we won't talk about that.
Offline, we can.
Yeah.
That was good, though. It was first meeting of the teams for this season. Got to see the Capitals OFBG jersey or whatever.
Yeah, those are clean.
They're nice. I really like Riggs's kit too, with the Winter Classic shell and sock. Like that's good stuff.
Yeah, that was hot.
Yeah. As soon as I saw the model or the concept or whatever for the old school white with the red shoulders and the whole thing, I was like, okay. I had bought like the socks and the shell at the Caps equipment sale that summer after that 2011 Winter Classic, when they used to have the equipment sales. They don't do them anymore.
Right.
I think everything ends up at Pro Stock Hockey, but I was like, okay, this is happening.
This.
I was told I haven't scored any goals yet. I have a bunch of assists, but I was told last night that if I don't start scoring goals, then I have to stop wearing the Winter Classic shell. And to which I responded, I really don't give a fuck. I'm going to continue to wear it.
That's the spirit. We like
That's
hearing
the
that.
spirit. It's the way to do it. It was a good game. We had a bit of a runaway in the first period, and then you guys came back and tied it up. And
Yes.
it was a game going into the third.
So there's a great little story about that. So we did come all the way back, and I guess it was like the beginning of the third period when we tied it up.
Mm-hmm.
And previous guest Steve Bamani was playing D. There's a face-off in our end, so he's over by the bench, at his point position. And before the drop of the puck, he turns to us on the bench and says, "Yeah, you guys came all the way back and tied it up, but I've read this script before. We're about to score 2 or 3 goals." And sure enough, it came. So that was.
I believe it wasn't long after the game got tied up that I had a breakaway, and I'm told that there was a conversation that occurred behind the play.
Yes. So Danny and I. So Danny was just kind of like following the play, and like I was skating next to him, and he goes, you think he's gonna make it or something like that? And I said, absolutely not. and
Riggs was right.
And then I said, see?
I love it. Breakaways are not my thing.
Well, I love those little conversations that you have, those little moments. That's
yeah. For the record, Daniel and I are on the same team, and Riggs is on the other team.
Yeah, I mean, I was back checking. I had my guy. I had my guy.
Yeah.
I had my guy.
What was that? What was the one thing we wanted to bring up, Riggs?
Well,
Goaltending.
It kind of goes along with what Stan said to our bench about, 2 or 3 goals are going to happen here. You guys were up 3 within the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at least 2 of the shots were leaky.
Yeah.
However,
Daniels was a good one. The very first goal I thought was good because Daniel went back far side. I mean, it probably could have been saved, but it went straight into the net. It's not like it hit the goalie and then went in. But
okay, whatever. Like goals get scored. Yeah. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's what happens after the goals get scored.
Right.
Yes. It's very important.
It's the bounce back or the attitude of the goalie that's very important. And it's very hard to play in front of somebody that is constantly saying that they can't see the puck, even when the puck is like in the corner or like in neutral zone or or at the face-off dot while we're lining up for a face-off.
Oh my gosh.
There's a spirited conversation before the face-off.
Yeah. So, for I don't know what I want to say about this, but for goalies out there, maybe let's chill out and let's
work with your D, not against your D. I think that's the key. It seems like I definitely got the impression that it was almost like the goalie and the defense were trying to play different games and try to play the game in a different way. And I don't know. It just,
I think, one party thought that the defenders should play a more important role in the goaltending itself.
Yes. The defenders should do more of the goaltending.
Well, I think it was also brought up like there's certain ways to go about bringing up
Yes.
things to do,
yeah.
things that you would like to see your defenseman do.
There's constructive ways to criticize.
Right.
They call it that, you know?
Hey,
Constructive
maybe
criticism.
next time you do this instead of this. Just how I'm seeing it, type of thing, not, sitting there berating your defenseman.
Right. And the other thing is, you can't tell your defenders to actively push people around in front of the net in a non-body checking league.
Seriously, like what are they supposed to do? Take a penalty?
Right. So either we're going to be down the whole game and we're going to have people kicked out, especially in that league, right? Where
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's a friendly league.
there's really none of that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have to accept the fact that there will be opposing players in and around your area,
Mhm.
and you're just going to have to deal with it.
You might have to move your neck off to the side a little bit.
Hey,
You know?
I'm not a physician or a biologist, but
That
I
seems
do
like
know-
a possibility, right?
but I do know that I could like lean over and look around somebody.
You know, stand up a little straighter and see over somebody, or maybe get down lower and see underneath them. You know, it
So
seems like there's some options.
yeah,
Maybe
it's just
I'm not a goalie. I don't know, though. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway.
I digress.
There's been we've seen Phil on the ice. We've seen a couple players out on the ice, right? Like they doing camps and shit right now, John. Like what's going on? Is anybody
People
doing
returning?
anything?
It's informal team skates. So a lot of teams like
okay.
Vegas had their golf outing today. It's actually kind of funny because I was watching some of it. So like they talked to Keegan Colasar, Mark Stone, Marchessault, Ben Hutton, a few of the other guys, all wearing like a Vegas Gold Knights like polo or hat or both. And Phil had this like white Under Armour hat on it looked like it was like too big, like one of those fitted ones.
Mhm.
And then he was wearing a white Under Armour polo and it looked wrinkled as shit. Like and they were
I
just
love
going
Phil.
around. They were just going around like, who do you think's the worst golfer? Blah, like little funny stuff. And he just started chuckling, like he's like, Marchessault. And then you got the sense like really quickly because you could hear the laughter in the background. Marchessault was like in Kessel's group, and he's just teasing him right in front of his face. Like, so that was kind of funny. I know like the Canucks are back. A lot of the Leafs guys are in town. I know everyone on the Penguins roster is in town, skating one way or another. And then this week, actually, I think a lot of teams have like, I don't know if they're calling it like a kickoff to training camp, but it's pretty damn close. So a lot of teams Monday, it's like media day. Tuesday, Wednesday is physical testing and medicals. And then by Thursday or Friday, all the teams will be on the ice. So, I mean, we're pretty damn close because it's like 26, 25 days to games, essentially. So, yeah, we're pretty damn close, which is
Getting
great.
there.
Yeah, a lot of NHL guys got signed to PTOs the last couple of days too. So
That's
like
good
our
stuff.
our boy Sonny Milano, weird. So
Where do you get signed to?
Calgary on a PTO.
Oh,
Yeah,
that could work out for him.
I still
Try
don't know
something.
why Anaheim didn't PTO him or sign him.
Right. Seriously.
there's a reason. Like I said, Aaron, there's a reason he had a great World Junior, and then he's bounced around since. I'm not saying anything against the guy, but I think
He
I'm not
plays
saying he's-
really well with Zegras. Like, unless they've got somebody that, you know, is going to be better with Zegras, I guess, or that Zegras can play
Anaheim.
with. I don't know.
Anaheim's gonna have a lot of young people coming in the next couple of years. They're gonna be
Mhm.
just fine without Sonny Milano.
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
They're gonna be
All
just
right.
fine without him. So
I don't keep up with them with the West enough, so I don't really know. I just know that Zegers and Milano hooked up for a lot. But
Zegers is starting to get tattoos and stuff. He's a tough guy now.
he
doesn't want to hang out with a guy like Milano. It's almost like the Austin Matthews like path. I'm gonna get on the cover of NHL and then I'm gonna get tattoos and stuff. So like that's what he's gonna do.
Get tattoos and grow a mustache.
And have a receding hairline very early in your life.
Have an early receding
But yeah, it's like that weird transition time in the year. Like
yeah.
So
You brought up NHL. I actually watched the thing on it today. They changed some cool stuff in the game, actually. Well, changed more like brought stuff back from like 15 years ago that should never have been taken out. But they have this thing now when you win the Stanley Cup in the franchise mode where you can choose who you want to hand the cup to, which is kind of cool. And then when you do that, then the announcers will it picks like 8 or 9 guys that have storylines going on. And then you choose a guy and the announcers are like, oh yeah, he's handing it to whoever because of, leading score in the playoffs or whatever. Like, it's actually pretty cool.
Huh.
And then at the end,
Aaron Michaels handing the cup off to himself. He broke Gretzky's goal total this year. Not for the season, for his career.
His career.
His career. He did it this year. That's what it's going to be.
Just an incredible year for this guy.
An incredible year for this guy. Wow.
No, but then also a really cool thing that they've implemented new this year is that at the end, after you've had your like cup ceremony or whatever, they show the cup with this like black background and like in the commercials, and it like zooms in on the spot where your team would be on the cup, and like your names are on there from the rock. That's pretty cool. I thought that was neat. Now they've added some some polish to that franchise mode stuff and they do the anthems now. Like they didn't have the anthems for like 10 years. They did in like, I don't know, 2007.
Huh.
But yeah, anyway, I'm kind of excited. I might actually buy it. I mean, who am I kidding? I'm going to buy it anyway.
It's not just a roster update?
Yeah, it's more than a roster update. I mean, it's kind of just a roster update, but there's some little tiny things that they've added. I don't know. Let's see. What else we got?
Well, the one thing I kind of saw, it's actually kind of pretty cool. So the Summit series from the 70s when the Soviet Union played Canada and Canada ended up winning on Paul Henderson's come from behind goal in Moscow. They're doing a big doc, like a big behind the scenes doc on it because it hasn't been done. And years ago, I actually bought the DVD set and watched the games. It's wild. Like what they considered a penalty back then. If you did it today, like in a beer league, like you would have assault charges filed against you. It was frightening. And the best is like some of those, they weren't penalties and you could hear the announcers and it wasn't like Bob Cole, it was other guys from the 70s and I don't even remember. I got to dig it up and watch it again, but they were like, "Oh, the Russians aren't used to this, kind of aggressive and North American style." I'm like, "This isn't aggressive, this is assault. This is horrible." But the cool thing they actually started doing is people have been going behind the scenes, kind of like get more stories from the team. I actually got the book that Esposito did a lot of excerpts for, it's a really good book about the whole series and how Canada it was billed to Canada as like just this fun thing they would do before NHL training camp. And like some of the guys, like the Esposito brothers, didn't even want to go because they were losing a ton of money from like the hockey camps they were running. So they were like, "Oh, why the hell do we even need to go?" Blah, blah, blah. But people are doing like the advanced stats on the series and stuff. It was cool to see. And one of the junior teams in the CHL did a practice wearing like the 70s gear.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I mean, the goalies and the players, they wore like their today helmets, for safety reasons. But it was so cool to see like the goalies try and move in the skates and everything and the pads. It was pretty cool. Like I like seeing that like little dive into hockey history and everything, especially some of the advanced stats stuff. Like you kind of, we know some of these players were great and really talented and dominant. But when you kind of line some of the stats that we track today, that we're kind of like that person moves the needle, or that person's a player skater that really makes an impact, even if, you know, we could even say it like, especially in the women's game, he or she is not scoring goals or putting up points, like they are making an impact. So,
Right.
And even some of the cool stuff they were tracking, like shot assists, which is now like an interesting metric a lot of NHL teams are starting to track, like who's getting the puck to shooters in really good scoring areas, like moving the puck into that area or setting those things up. That's a metric people are starting to even kind of dig deeper to like to start track. Watch like in the next probably 2 years, that stat's going to be, I guarantee it's going to move to like slot shots, rebounds from the slot, shot assists, and I'm sure there's a few other metrics that I'm forgetting right now that everybody's going to start tracking for like offensive metrics even more. So kind of cool to apply that to like 70s era hockey when they still had like this dunk, like especially too like Rigs, you know, because they did a lot of stuff, and all of us, we watch Miracle, so like they kind of touched on it a little bit where, you know, Herb Brooks really kind of implemented, you know, no, we're not going to dump the puck. This is not the way we got to beat this Soviet team. We want to play just like them, so you got to keep the puck. That was a European concept, and even when you watch those games from the Summit Series, like there's a lot of dump and chase. And not on the Russian side, it's on the Canadian side.
Yeah.
And it is bonkers to see, because sometimes, I hate saying it, but it's probably the way they were coached. Like man, if you would have taken 3 or 4 more strides, you could have like maybe gotten in a better position, but they were so programmed to just chuck it in the corner. Yeah, just chuck it in the corner and go after it. It's kind of funny.
Well, you know, I've said for a long time, every team needs a good dumper.
Yeah, every team. Yeah.
You dump it, you chase it.
Yeah.
You gotta have a dumper, you know?
That's right.
Yeah, I can't stand dump and chase hockey.
It's dumb. You can't.
I can't stand it.
In beer league, it's really dumb.
Yeah,
it's just a turnover.
Yeah, first of all, like Danny just said, you dump it, you chase it.
Yeah.
Seriously.
In beer league, it's not even dump it. It's a turnover. That's all it is.
Right. That's exactly right.
It's just giving them the puck.
In more competitive forms of hockey, there are ways to dump it in a smart way that only your teammate can get it, but it takes practice, and it's
recognizing that it's the situation to use that. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a whole thing. But the sort of like mentality of, well, we're just gonna get it deep in their end, get it behind their D, make their D turn around and face the end. You know, all this bullshit that people say in the interviews.
Yeah.
Like, that is not how teams are playing today, first of all. So
you don't do that.
So like, and I'm going to rail on the stupid beat writers and reporters now, because stop asking the questions that get those stupid answers.
Seriously.
That isn't even what is happening in the game. That's not even what the NHL teams do today. Everybody wants to have controlled zone entries. Everybody wants to control the puck when they cross that offensive blue line. And ideally, they want to do it inside the dots. Right. They don't want to be forced to the wall to enter. They want to do it inside the dots. And no one asks questions about this, and I hate it, because it's not a true representation of what's actually happening in the game when you watch it. Like, you want to talk about the eye test versus analytics and stuff, you know, you can see it happening when you watch. But then the numbers back it up. If I control the puck when I enter the zone, chances are I'm going to get a good scoring chance, if not 2.
Yeah.
Like, there's hard numbers behind that. So anyway, now I'm getting all riled up.
He's seething right now.
Well, and because I'm looking at it as a fan and somebody that loves the game, but also as a coach who's trying to teach players and develop players, right? And even to this day, after how many years have we been doing American development model now as USA Hockey, right? Even today, I see youth hockey clubs that are preaching dump and chase in situations. For me as a coach, it is off limits. It's off limits. Like, I'll never tell that to a kid. You carry the puck until they take it from you, or you decide that it's time to shoot or pass. Like, because that's the only way you're going to get better, and that's the only way you're going to develop into the modern player that you need to be. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's so outdated. It's comical. And the only time even playing in high school, because like our coach even hated doing it. And I think he kind of realized he was coaching against a bunch of idiots too, that they did that. Because the only time you can ever dump a chase, he goes, penalty kill, and you like, fine, I'll live with the penalty kill. You guys set up again, do it that way. And he goes, if you're out there for 2 solid minutes, like pinned down in your own zone, he goes, the first one you touch it. But he said, he goes, if you dump it and you hit the guy at the blue line, he made the joke. He's like, you not only better be the first one to stop that guy at the blue line, but he's like, you owe me 50 push-ups at practice. Like, I'll never forget it. Because I was like, I was always one of the first ones, like when you get it, like you look where to kind of throw it or chuck it. And I've done it too, like, because you guys play with me. If I'm like near the end of the shift and I have no juice, I literally like get the red line and I actually just put it on goal. But I put it on goal. Like I try to just shoot it from there. Because I'm like, I'm not going to, and I've thrown it in the corner a few times, but that's like same thing. It's always been like 2 straight minutes we're there. I'm like, we all just need to get the fuck off the ice, throw it, and just worry about it later. Like,
obviously, like if we need a change or something, like, okay, like get the puck as far away from our net as possible,
throw it over the glass if you have
and
to.
let's get our like if you can do it,
there's not a penalty.
If you could do it, you're not going to get a dog on it, so like just chuck it. But
let's just hope you're out with a centerman who can win a face-off. I won't say names. No, but like last night was kind of funny because in our game too, like you guys touched on the goalie thing. I had to keep my mouth shut. I'm sorry because I have my own opinion about the way that fucking situation worked. But like I have like two to three pet peeves. Like if you're playing defense, and all 3 were broken by like one team. Eric can probably guess who.
It's every single game.
It's every single game. If you're a D-man and you're at the point, if you put it in somebody's shin pads, that is the most annoying thing in the history of the world. I cannot tell you that. Like, if you have time, like, there's no excuse. You need to look up, look around. If you don't have time, I get it, because like sometimes you're just like, I gotta get it. There is no excuse where like you don't have a 3-foot buffer to move it around or even just put it on the boards down
just
in the
put it on the wall, man.
zone, something.
Just put it on the wall. If you don't have time, just put it on the wall. If you can't get it to the net, just get it down low so that whoever's in, somebody should be around the net. They can go. They could go get it, and then we can do something down low. Like, yeah.
And then
what it tells me is like they got the puck. And they never even looked
frightened
at anything. They just got scared because the puck was on their stick, and they were just like,
it's a hot potato.
It was a grenade.
And then my other one is just these blind passes, like from D-men up the boards. And my favorite is when the wing's never there. That's probably my favorite. Oh well, it is what it is.
It all happens in beer league, though. If you're not supposed to do it, then it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
It's funny because like sometimes it's like that's the only play they had, so like it is what it is. I get it. And then I'll be honest, it's like a forward. Sometimes I make bonehead plays. We all do. It's the way it works.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's
all
everybody.
We're not professionals. It's totally fine. Because even when I make a mistake, I'm the first one to go like, "Oh, Johnny, what the hell?" Or like, "God damn it, Johnny." You know, like I'm the first one. It doesn't. I'm not immune to it or whatever. But like sometimes there's like a few that like always make me laugh. I'm just like, "Oh gosh, here we go again."
My favorite is when I'm playing wing and I'll come back. You know, you come low to time the breakout pass and everything, right? And they get the puck and they're swinging around the net, but their D is pinching down on me, right? This happens a lot. Their D is pinching down on me. So I will say very loudly, no, 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 no. Like 6 times I'll say no, and they'll still just
ringing around you. Yeah.
fucking fire the puck at me. And first of all, they're just firing it at me. And then I have a guy like right on my back. And guess what happens? They get the puck, and now we're scrambling defensively because we're in breakout mode, and we don't know how to transition to defense mode, and like it's a mess. And then like even if nobody's on you, the timing's always fucked up. Like the timing is always fucked up. Like you come and you curl at the hash and you're starting to work your way back up the boards, and the pass won't come until you're like at the blue line. And by that time, their center or whoever their high forward was is recovered. So now you got somebody right on you. You got to get it to the next guy, and move through neutral. It's always, the timing's always just jacked. So if you actually get out of your zone, it's a luck event.
It's a luck event to get out of your zone
in beer league.
Well, getting out of your own zone may be a luck event, but there's no luck involved when it comes to receiving our thanks for your support. You've made it to my outro, so that means that you must have enjoyed what you're listening to, or you forgot that we were on, one of the two. Either way, we thank you for your listen, and if you did enjoy what you're listening to, maybe we could ask you to please like, rate, review, subscribe, or whatever your podcatcher allows you to do, as those things definitely help us get heard by more listeners. Thanks again to our Patreons and to everybody who's in Discord. You can join those groups by going to beersintheLot.com/Patreon or beersintheLot.com/Discord. Hope to see you there. Little reminder that our Patreons get some cool stuff like pint glasses and koozies and some other stuff that isn't available on the shop. And everybody in Discord gets basically bonus Beers in the Lot content all day long. So check them out. And check out episode 111 next week on Wednesday. We'll be back then. See you then.